I'm going to focus on one more aspect of attraction in relationships. It really was pioneered by Harville Hendrix. Harville was the first theorist to understand that relationships go through definite stages. They are inevitable stages. We cannot skip one, but we can learn to move through them and navigate those stages, and then I think come to a much better place in a relationship. But it comes with understanding. So let's look at the stages of relationship. The first one is the one we all love. It's the romantic attraction stage. It is full of hope and optimism. It is ruled by brain chemicals, phenylethylamine primarily. The purpose is to form attachment. Unfortunately, it is illusional and delusional. What that means is, illusional means we are out of touch with reality when we fall in love. Delusional means we like it that way. We want it to be that way. It is just such a great feeling of falling in love with one another. Unfortunately, we want it to be long-term love. And it's really not. It's just that period of attraction, of attachment, of infatuation as we learn to love one another. And the driving force there is this theory of eros, this sensual, sexual attraction for one another. In fact, there's an irony, there's a paradox in relationships, that as we move to a deeper level of commitment in the relationship, the feeling begins to shift. And we move from that feeling of hope and optimism and everything's right with the world and falling in love, and we begin to move in a different direction. And it's almost as if there's this pendulum swing in relationships. And if falling in love is on one side of that pendulum swing, and it's full of hope and optimism, and we're projecting all of those feelings onto that person, they're the object of our love. The paradox is, as we move to a deeper level of commitment, the pendulum begins to swing. And as with any pendulum, you see, it doesn't go from one extreme to the middle. It goes from one extreme to the other. And we call that other extreme the power struggle. The power struggle is also illusional and delusional. Again, it means we're out of touch with reality. The only difference is we don't like the reality we're presented with in the power struggle. It moves from commitment to coercion, from synergy to cynicism. We begin to be focused on our needs again rather than the needs of each other. And it's characterized, the driving force in the power struggle is fear. The power struggle is defined as a relationship in which there's an underlying tension that's always there. When you enter into a power struggle, that tension is always right under the surface, and it's just waiting to erupt. There's this tension that's characterized by fear. But we're not aware of that, so what happens is it results in a breakdown of communication, which leads to assumption. And in a power struggle, we always assume the worst, and we project it onto one another. And sadly, in our civilization, in our culture, that's where most relationships stay, until there's some kind of resolution. And in our culture today, over 50% of the time, that resolution is dissolution of the relationship. We get out of the relationship, we get a divorce, and we start that process all over again. We found that that's not real resolution, because we're not resolving anything, we're just reacting. So our mission then is to deal with couples and help them understand that this is a natural shift in the relationship. It will move from projection of all our hopes and dreams to a projection of our fears. And this person who seems to have gone from being almost messianic one day to certainly Satan incarnate the next is a part of the normal process of change and evolution in a relationship. It is inevitable, it is bound to happen. And the answer to the dilemma is not to get out of that relationship and start all over again, but to understand that the power struggle is a normal part of the relationship and begin to work toward a healthy resolution.
So we're just going to assume then that the majority of the couples that we work with are in some form of power struggle, whether they're relatively newly married or the power struggle's been going on for a long time. The way out is awareness. Now, not awareness of your partner. Very typically when a couple comes to us, they can give us a list, a long list of what their partner does that's wrong. What we're after is, what do you do in the relationship? Awareness of yourself. What part do you play in the power struggle? And that helps you then identify your fear and see what you're projecting onto your partner. The best place to look then is childhood soul wounds, the things that happened in childhood that affect your adult relationship. And so in looking at awareness, we have couples ask a very important question of themselves. And that question is, what is it like living with me?
And as we go through the training process, we're going to teach you some tools that are very simple and yet very powerful to help couples own those feelings and understand them. It's going to lead them to a resolution, a transformation, I think, that will be soul healing and produce a deep, bonded, powerful friendship and relationships with one another that we love.
I think the best way to illustrate the soul healing love that comes from transformation, awareness, getting rid of the power struggle. Tom and I, when we wrote the book Soul Healing Love, we interviewed couples that had been married 40 plus years that had a high pleasure index, which was kind of hard to find, 40 years, and they actually liked each other, and they were happy to be together. Without exception, by the way, all the couples we interviewed said that the quality that they loved most about their relationship was their friendship, their deep bonded friendship. But we were telling this couple about soul healing love and how love is supposed to be healing, and they were saying, yes, we've been married 50 years and our love is very healing and we're very connected to one another. And as we were interviewing them about what advice they would give this next generation of would-be soul healers, she's just chatting away. She's just talking 90 miles a minute, and he gets up and leaves the room. And she doesn't miss a beat. She just looks and she goes, bring me one too. And he walks off. She just keeps talking as if nothing has happened. He comes back in a few minutes later, and he's got 2 iced teas, perfectly fixed with a little lemon on the side, a little sprig of mint, and he sets one down. She goes, oh, thank you, baby, just like I like it, picks it up and drinks the tea. They'd been married 50 years, and they developed such a connection that they talked and they forgot to use words. And we said, that's awesome. How did you do that? He said, listen, I'll tell you how I did that. I did that by working very hard. He said, that didn't come naturally. He said, we had lots of boo-boos. He said, it was 50 years of trial and error. And Tom said, well, if you had to tell everybody how you got it, what would you say? And he said, oh, that's easy. He said, the reason I can do this, the reason I can read her mind is because I wanted to. And that's what couples need to have to make it work, is want to. I love that statement, want to. Because soul healing love happens because you want it to happen. And it will melt you into such a oneness that eventually you will talk and you will forget to use words.
We've come to find with soul healing, guys, that couples like that don't happen upon that by chance. That kind of relationship comes with hard work. And it's built on good, deep, powerful communication. But it's also a conscious process. It's something they can decide to do. It doesn't happen by chance. They can decide to move in that healing direction. And that's the model we want to lay before you that helps couples achieve that kind of deep, powerful, soul-healing love. Any more couples come into to counseling with us, it doesn't really matter to me what the problems are, as long as we can help them develop want to. And soul healing teaches them tools that are so simple and so powerful. It rewards their want to with a deep, passionate, conscious love. We call that soul healing love, and we're glad to share that with you